You guys had a good weekend?
I had a great weekend.
Yeah.
I can't complain. I took a nap.
Sounds like a great time.
It was a great time.
All right.
Get your rest.
Awesome.
All right. You guys ready?
Yep.
I was born
All
ready.
right, guys. So welcome to episode 2 of the Crypto Effect. We're your host, Jeffrey.
Diz.
And you, Nelson.
So what's going on, guys? What's the week been like for you guys?
I was scared because I heard there was a bomb threat.
Yes.
Crypto bomb threat.
Yes.
They're trying to come after everyone now.
It's crazy.
You heard about that stuff?
Yeah,
The crypto bomb threats happening.
Well, it was specifically demanding Bitcoin.
20,000 Bitcoins.
20,000.
Yeah.
These clowns.
As a matter of fact, my company that I work for got evacuated.
Oh, really?
Because of that, yeah.
Oh.
The whole entire building. And when I first heard about it, they said that there's bomb threats. We get outside, then somebody says, yeah, somebody's asking for 20,000 Bitcoins. Then, when I get back inside, I start reading some articles, and then I guess it was like a nationwide thing, so.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like, I remember seeing it all over the news, and I'm like, is this, like, real right now? Like, I don't know, it was just crazy. Did you get to read the email that they sent? Or?
I didn't get to read it, but a lot of people were saying that it's not really credible. They couldn't really find the source, so it's like...
Yeah, obviously it was some pranksters or someone trying to pull a quick one.
Yeah.
Obviously they didn't think it through all the way, and they're like, let me just throw it out in the wind and see if it catches anything.
Yeah.
It didn't catch not one Bitcoin.
I mean, not for nothing, but if you would have ended up with 20,000 Bitcoins... That's
yeah.
That's not listen. Not that I'm saying get any ideas out there.
No, you didn't hear that here. It wasn't.
But still, 20,000 Bitcoins is a lot of Bitcoin.
I mean, I think the whole entire purpose of Bitcoin, obviously, is to decentralize money, right? And one of the things about that is I don't believe that there's going to be any pirate in kind of situation where people are going to go and hijack you for your Bitcoin out of a boat. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're in Somalia or somewhere in parts of the world, they
can.
They can't. Well, yeah, if they kidnap the right person, but I mean, who's going to know if you have money or not unless if you're putting it out there?
True.
You know, your cryptocurrency is safe somewhere. You know, the wallet's not going to be attached to your name specifically.
That's true.
So it's going to be kind of difficult for someone to pull something off like that. Like, hey, go and get me 20,000.
Yeah,
they must really know you.
They must really, they're putting out your information out there because I know some people, and I'm sure you guys know some people that have a bunch of different cryptocurrencies and no one knows about it. And if you see them down the street, probably like, they're broke, but they're not broke. So
protect your keys too, man, because, you know, we got somebody here that loses their keys.
I lost one key, guys. One key. It wasn't even that big of a deal.
I mean,
found it.
Just think about how scary that is, though. You know, that you have, let's say you do have 50 Bitcoins and you lose your keys. What do you do at that point?
So you cry.
I mean, I think that's one of the scariest thing right now about the space. You know, and it'll probably keep a lot of people out is the fact that, you know, you lose these keys, you lose your money, you lose your Bitcoins.
Yeah.
So there has to be a solution at some point, you know, custody, right? That's one of the things that is holding a lot of people from coming in is, you know, having a third party, you know, to
being responsible
rather than yourself.
And I don't think anyone wants that responsibility
now.
That's
a huge responsibility.
That's a huge responsibility.
Especially in the early stages.
Yeah. Given the market fluctuates so much as well. It's like, hey, I left this in your hands and it disappeared.
It's still early, man.
It's too early for that. But I don't think that the bomb threats are going to continue to happen. I think that was a one-time thing.
However, one of the positive sides of that scenario is a lot of awareness.
True.
For Bitcoin.
Definitely.
True.
You know, so if you didn't hear about it, now you heard about it.
Yeah. Well, it was all over the headlines.
Of course.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, Bitcoin now, the whole entire market of cryptocurrency is expanding. It's being used on so many different levels. Did you guys hear about that building in Manhattan that's using blockchain technology to tokenize the asset?
No, I haven't really heard
It's bananas. So pretty much these guys are developers, realtors, and there's a bunch of people involved where they built, I don't know, X amount of apartments. I'm not going to give you an exact number because I don't recall. But they took the loan from the bank, and the bank had a deadline when they had to pay it back. And instead of them, you know, rushing or panicking, because sometimes developers don't finish on time, they tokenize the building. So pretty much they grab that asset and they put it into tokens. In other words, they
distribute ownership.
They distribute ownership as in tokens.
Right.
So now the money is there. You and I will go and purchase some of these tokens, own a piece of the building, And these guys get the money so they can finish the project. I'm holding on to the asset. They got the money to finish the project without the pressure of having to pay the bank back. You know how crazy that is?
That's
pretty
insane.
crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that's the future. That's what cryptocurrency, that's the whole entire purpose of this digital market, is that we don't have to rely on banks and have play by their rules specifically in order to fund projects and businesses.
And it's funny, a lot of people getting creative with this stuff.
That's super creative right there.
That's really creative, and those are the type of things that is going to disrupt what they call finance.
Yeah.
The financial world that we live in today. And I think that in a few years from now, we're going to look back and we're like, wow, people actually used cash.
Well,
you know,
which I was actually going to ask you guys, like, all right, for us, you know, we're in the crypto market, right? And, you know, we have, you know, different coins or whatever. Do you guys think that it's going to come to a point where we no longer have to cash out per se? We just, what we're holding on to, that's what's going to be. Obviously not
like
all
your
the
net worth?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the CZ, the CEO of Binance, recently said that he has 99.9% of his wealth in crypto.
In crypto, yeah.
So he owns no fiat. Everything is all in crypto.
Yeah.
I believe that. I mean, look at Warren Buffett. You look at Bill Gates. You look at Mark Zuckerberg. All these guys, all of their wealth is inside their stocks.
Yeah.
You know. So
because all right, so I don't know if you guys heard about Coinbase integrating with PayPal, that you're able to transfer to PayPal with 0 fees and supposedly like immediately, you know, to exchange it into cash. But it's just one of those things that, like, you know,
it's about time.
Is it going to hold up in the market the value of the dollar per the coin? And that's a great question. I personally believe that it will eventually stabilize. You know, there's so many projects out there that fluctuate again in pricing because of market manipulation, because of rumors, FUD, you know, lack of deliverance on one of their sprints, one of their you know, their releases. And eventually, once all that is taken care of, it should stabilize to a point where it is going to be like stocks.
Yeah, of course.
In that sense.
I believe so.
A lot of people will hold their wealth. I mean, I'm going to hold on to these coins that I own for a long time. I have no plans on selling them as soon as the market goes. I mean, maybe I'll sell some, but not all of them.
I mean, guys, I think we've learned from our mistakes.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. I mean,
the last bull run.
I think we had like an unrealistic expectation in the beginning when we first joined.
Yeah.
And we would look at a cryptocurrency, for example, like Cardano, at like $5 billion in evaluation.
Yeah.
With no product.
Exactly.
And we were still hoping that'll continue to go up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think that this whole correction is great for us and great for the space, because now people really have to work.
Yeah.
You know,
These companies have to deliver.
right.
Whatever they say they're going to do.
And recently there's a lot of companies that are actually shutting down, you know, and this is good because a lot of the projects that weren't meant to be successful, this is the time when they die off.
Yeah.
And that gives space for real projects to actually, you know, take advantage and move forward now.
Only the strong will survive.
Exactly.
It's kind of like
Tron, you know, just
Well, Tron is moving up in the ranks little by little.
I was gonna compare it to like the .com boom, you know, back then when everyone just launched a website, they launched a project, and they would, you know, get these unicorn investments and unicorn valuations of my company's worth $1 billion because it does X, Y, Z, and then after it bursted and it blew up, all these companies shut down. A lot of people lost money. And only the strong survive. That's where you got the Amazons. That's where you got the Googles. You know, that's where you got the eBays from, because they actually had a working product.
Yeah.
And that's what we're gonna head to. And I think that it will. I think it will stabilize, and I think that at some point it will be dollar for dollar, dollar for coin. I don't know.
What do you mean? Do you mean when you say dollar for coin? Do you mean like
the value
equivalent to the dollar?
Not equivalent to the dollar. I mean like, there'll be stability within that coin, right? So for example, now if
like independent from Bitcoin?
Independent from Bitcoin.
Okay.
So if you, let's take, you mentioned Cardano, you mentioned Tron, I'll mention Ethos just for kicks and giggles, right? So Ethos, right? At some point, it'll be whatever fraction of Ethos will be worth $1, or one Etho could be worth $10 at some point.
Okay.
And then it might have some fluctuation, just like the dollar does now as well.
Right.
All currency all around the world fluctuates in the value. You know, whether you take a dollar against a peso or against a yen, you know, it's going to fluctuate. So I think you'll see that in the currencies in the future.
Yeah.
And I also think too, man, that there's too many people in the space trying to do the same thing, right? And when you look at the future, you're not gonna have too many blockchains operating. I think there's gonna be maybe 2 or 3 main blockchains, you know, to kind of service, you know, all the other different projects.
Yeah.
And when you look at dApps, right? You look at projects like Ethereum, you look at EOS, you look at Cardano, you look at Tron, and
my man.
and the reality is that the projects that are going to survive are the ones that are able to adapt and change. Right now, one of the biggest issues that we're obviously facing is scalability, right? Ethereum can only do 7 transactions per second or 17 transactions per second. And then you have EOS, which they say can do potentially 7,000 transactions per second. But then you got Cardano, doesn't even have a project. It has a great white paper, but we don't have anything yet. Tron is making acquisitions and is, you know, has actually they're one of the top in transactions per day and weekly, right under EOS.
So I'm sure you know that number. What's the number now?
Well, I know they had reached 2 million transactions per day. Like, what was it, like yesterday or 2 days ago or something like that? So, you know,
that's crazy.
And it's funny because we would look at Tron and we'd be like, I don't know.
Let's be realistic. Everybody considers, even to this day, Tron as a scam coin.
Of course.
You know?
Of course.
But I kind of feel like they've proven themselves and, you know, they're putting money behind Tron. You know, what did they acquire? BitTorrent. I know he's funding the gaming industry and whatnot. And
For sure.
I mean, I don't know. I'm a believer of Tron, guys. Shout out to Justin's son.
Get out of here. Justin's son. But yeah, so I think projects are going to evolve. I think that we'll see the strong will survive.
Yeah. And not for nothing, I think like even like projects that do have potential that maybe don't survive, they probably get bought out. You know, if you look at the big dogs like Google, right?
Yeah.
They buy out all these like different, you know,
small projects.
Yeah, small projects and turn them into something else.
Or sometimes they kill them. Take the horse behind the barn and shoot it.
That's true.
Sometimes they do that as well.
That too. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. You know, I think that this market is getting to a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, I was watching a video from this guy, and he was saying like that the elites, you know, like these powerful people are controlling cryptocurrency because cryptocurrency is completely against their system, right? We're trying to decentralize them. They're trying to keep everything centralized.
Yeah.
You know, so basically what they're saying is that because they're not in agreement with decentralization, that they could potentially run the price down to zero, you know, and that you know, Bitcoin really has no value. People say that it's a store of value, but a lot of people say that, you know, it's too volatile. You know, there's no real intrinsic value, and so, you know, in order for you to invest in this type of market, you have to do your research. Yeah. And you have to be sure about what it is that this technology offers. Yeah. Right. And one of the things that for me is big is a one world currency, for example. Right. That's the future. Yeah. The world is going to go that way. And most importantly, there will be no physical money in the future.
Of course not.
And I believe that.
Yeah. I mean, I believe it too.
On top of that, you know, we have, you know, it's hard to keep track of documents, right? People can lose their documents. They can lose very identity, for example, identity protection. And there's a lot of projects right now that are offering, you know, better ways for us to, for example, own a house, you know, store everything on the blockchain where everything's transparent. Everybody has access to it. Mm-hmm. If you go to a court, as a matter of fact, there's court systems that use blockchain now, right? As evidence, right? Because you can't change it. Yeah. It's immutable. So, I mean, when you look at a transparent world, you know, and giving power back to the people, we would be living in a cryptocurrency world where everything is decentralized. Definitely. You know, everybody has a fair chance of being able to increase their wealth, you know, and look at this blockchain
the Manhattan building.
Yeah. You know,
Wow.
Imagine that you own your own building, right? And you don't have to go to a bank to finance it.
No, yeah, like,
Right?
That's what I've been looking for.
It just changes everything.
Yeah, it does, and
Changes
I can see that transitioning into, like you said, obviously real estate, vehicles. It could probably even go into education at some point.
Oh,
People
yeah,
paying
for
for
sure.
schools.
Definitely.
You know,
For sure.
no offense to Sally Mae. I don't owe any money to Sally Mae.
Oh, man,
I know a lot of people do, but I don't. Sally Mae, just making that nice and clear. But it will.
student fed loans
Yeah.
out there. Like,
But it could replace so much. It will replace so much because that's what we've been needing. You don't know what you need until you have it.
Of course.
You know, and like you
Yeah.
said, money is becoming obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
Before I met my wife, I always carried cash because I felt that was the best way for me personally to manage it. But it becomes uncomfortable when you go to the store and you have change in your pockets and you lose $1 or
Yeah.
two, or you lose your money. You're not even keeping track sometimes of what you purchase. When you start using your bank card, now you can go back and see the history of transactions, right? And it gives you a better idea of how to budget yourself as well. Like, oh, this week I spent X amount on gas.
Right.
You have cash, it's just gonna go through. I don't know. I might have thrown in $20 into the
Yeah.
tank. Might have had that burger or not. I don't eat red meat, but
And not only that, I also think too is just also like, who controls most of the cash?
Nah.
Bankers,
Bankers.
right? Government.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Who charges us taxes? Who's Uncle Sam?
Exactly.
Uncle Sam, man.
Who's
Uncle Sam's
Uncle
killing-
Sam?
He's killing the game right now.
He's always been killing the game, literally. Yeah, so
I was actually thinking about this, right? So, and I'm gonna bring up these two projects, Ripple and Stellar, right? Kind of similar projects, two different philosophies, right? Ripple is an equity, right? So they have their own private investors, and then you have Stellar, which is a nonprofit, right? So one of the reasons why Jed McKay, one of the founders of Ripple and now the founder of Stellar, left was because he believed that everything should be distributed amongst everybody, right? So right now when we look at Ripple, we see that they own a lot of the Ripples, right? Maybe 30% of the people control almost 60 to 70% of XRP. So you look at a project like Stellar, right, which gives away tokens, and their goal is to spread the wealth, right? And there's also, they have, I believe, is a 1% inflation that they pay out every single week. So if you have a wallet, right, everybody gets to take a 1%, a piece of that 1% that comes out every single week. And the reason why they do that is because, right, people lose their keys, people die, so a lot of coins get lost in circulation. But what we see in their philosophy is that they believe that more people should be involved rather than just a few owning, a larger percentage. And that's what happens right now in the traditional space that we are in right now in terms of government owning the money and the bankers as well, is that they control they print their own money.
that's true.
Right?
That is
they
true.
print their own money. They have access to it. We don't. Right, so who's gonna have more say, when it comes to decision making? They lobby, all these people to make all these laws, to do all these things. What we are looking for is equality. Right?
100%.
And I believe that cryptocurrency is gonna bring that change.
Oh, definitely,
For sure. And EOS actually is working on bringing voting to the blockchain.
Interesting.
Right, which right now we have this whole issue about Trump and Russia potentially ruining the elections.
We'll find out soon enough.
We will find out eventually.
We've been finding out. We've been finding out.
But imagine that everybody gets to vote through the blockchain. Everything's recorded.
Yeah, everything.
You can't do anything about it. So
wow, that would be great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the future. And how you mentioned, that now, currency is actual money, the U.S. dollar. There's a lot of governance right now over the money, obviously taxes, etc., the feds, all of the above. But I know that a lot of people are seeing the future into the cryptocurrency and what is going to happen, right? So I heard about the whole Swift thing and the CEO stepping down.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So what's going on with that? Like, I want to know what happened to him. Why?
Well, what they're saying is that cryptocurrency is really disrupting that industry, and specifically Ripple, right, and Stellar. who are doing cross-border remittances or cross-border payments.
Yep.
And the thing about Swift, it's an old technology. It's clunky. It's expensive.
Yeah.
You know, and people want less fees and quicker.
Yeah,
payments.
because we know Swift, when
Options.
you send money anywhere,
Right.
they're gonna hit you over the head.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I tried doing a bank transfer the other day overseas, and I might have mentioned this to you, and the bank fee was $50. And I was like,
Crazy.
no.
Crazy.
And I went
ridiculous.
to Western Union, and even Western Union was like, it was like $7. So I was like, wow.
And the amount of
Crazy.
time it takes to get there.
Oh, yeah.
I remember sending money overseas to my father-in-law, and it took 3 days, right, to get to the middle bank. Somewhere in the middle bank, the money didn't get transferred to the bank in DR, and so I had to wait 8 to 10 days, and you remember this.
Yeah.
8 to 10 days for that money to finally arrive there.
Wow.
Yep. And I kept on verifying the SWIFT code, which is this long, huge number.
Kind of like a private key, right?
Kind of like a private key.
Somewhat, yeah.
Right. But then, nobody was able to tell me where my money was. And if my money would have been lost in that process, it's gone.
Done.
There's nothing that they can do. There's no guarantees.
And there's no way to trace it back.
There's no way to trace it back.
So what do you think? So the CEO of Swift stepping down. I mean, this guy has been around for. He's a dinosaur in the industry.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason.
The writing on the wall.
The writing's on the wall.
Exactly.
He's a smart
Writing's on the
man.
wall.
Good for him.
The writing's on the wall.
Good for him.
He knows, man. He's woke.
Yes, we're gonna say he's woke. He's woke. I mean, good for him. But definitely, that's something to look out after. And I've learned from a friend of ours who's also in the space in cryptocurrency, and he mentions, look at the people who are really involved with a lot of money. Look at the steps that they're taking.
Of course.
What are they doing? Where are they moving their money to? When the crypto market is going down, why are there investments going in from these institutions,
Right.
from these individuals? And that kind of gives you a good idea of where the market's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely.
Just like the stock market, there's a lot of people who play against it, and there's a lot of people who spread rumors, but then you'll see the selected few who know exactly what they're doing, and they know when to buy in and why they're buying in, and they also know when to step out,
of course.
which was our initial mistake.
Right.
We didn't know when to step out, right?
Right.
But
We thought it was just going to go up.
we were all novices. It's fine.
But if you look at guys like Mark Cuban, I know he's accepting crypto at the stadium at
Wow.
at the Mavs.
I didn't know that.
At his stadium.
Gary V, I don't know if you guys.
Of course. Yeah, he's knee deep in it. He said.
Yeah, and he's like, listen, and he's real. He's like, I don't understand it, but I'm in it.
But I'm in it,
You
right.
know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's just one of those things. You look at these people that they're investors and they're successful, and it's like, all right, they're investing for a reason. I mean, of course, they don't mind losing a little bit because they got the money.
Yeah,
but
Of course. I mean, here's a reality, man. You see Backed, for example.
Yeah.
Backed is made up of Starbucks, Microsoft, and the parent company of the New York Stock Exchange.
Yeah.
Right? Then you have Fidelity, which manages about $7.6 trillion in assets. Right? Then you have Goldman Sachs, CEO, and Mike Novogratz, who's one of the big supporters of cryptocurrency, who invested $30 million into a custody solution, BitGo. So where is the big money moving? Into the space. But then we read all these articles saying crypto is dead, this everything's going to zero, and that's just ways for them to bring the price down to buy a lot cheaper.
Oh, a lot cheaper. Yeah, definitely.
As well.
But that's the thing, like if you look at the times that people have said crypto is dead over the years, it's been plenty
Every
of
time it
times.
crashes.
Every time it crashes.
And then it goes
and
even
it
higher.
it does take a very significant dip. 80, 70, 80, 90% sometimes. I think I've seen
95%.
95%. And then when it shoots back up and it goes 1,000 times up higher, then, whoever was there was there.
Right.
And the sad part is when it reaches that all-time high, that's where everybody wants to
jump
invest,
in.
Right.
And it's just like, it's sad.
That's when all the positive news is coming out.
Oh, yeah.
Because now that these whales bought all at the bottom, now they got to bring that price up so they can make their money.
Yeah.
Then they'll start dumping on you.
Yeah.
As soon as they get to the price where they had set as their goal, they start dumping, and then people think, oh, it's going to bounce from here. and then it drops.
Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely gonna bounce from here, and then it drops more.
Yeah.
And then you get to the point where we are now.
Yeah.
Who is it? Is it CNBC,
CNBC,
Fast Cash?
Yep,
Yeah.
Fast Cash.
That was teaching people how to purchase Ripple at, what was it, like $3?
$3.06.
Wow.
$3.20.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Well,
Which is...
And we got dumped on.
I mean, I was in there really early.
And man,
like,
when you think about
pennies,
it,
so
you look at a coin like Ripple that has about 35 billion coins in circulation at an evaluation of $3.60 each. We didn't understand math. We didn't understand circulating supply. We didn't understand that these companies were all overvalued.
Oh, yeah. 100% they were all...
Now, once this happens again, it's not going to be the same.
No.
You know? And I'm ready to sell at the top.
more of the story.
So, your Nelson's ready to sell.
we all will take some profits. We have
Oh, definitely. Take your profit,
sure.
guys. For sure.
Yeah, take profits, but
You guys got anything else?
I think we've given a good amount of information out today, and we want to leave some for the next time.
All right, guys. So we'll catch you guys next week on Tuesday. Stay tuned.
Yes, sir.
Sounds good.
We'll see you guys.
Peace.
Peace.